Hi guys, thanks for joining me again. If you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're an oldie but a goodie, welcome. Thank you for always supporting. Today I'm back to review this new show that dropped on Netflix. I think we're getting it Friday and Saturday, and it's called When the Phone Rings. And oh, this is fun. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a nice one. And it has one of our favorite actors, Yo Young Seok, over here, and we've loved him in Mr. Sunshine. I loved him in the Hospital Playlist, all the seasons. I loved him he was in Narco Saints, that was really good. Oh, he was in that other show that really drove us crazy, The Interest of Love. Oh my gosh, that was torturous, but still an excellent actor. I love him. And I think I've seen her in a few things. I think she was in the Fabulous Life, I think. So both excellent actors. And this show, when it first started, I'm like, what is going on? So, okay, the first thing we learn is that he is this big, I think he works for like the White House, which they call the Blue House, I think is what I'm getting. He's got this high position where he's a spokesman. So he's the one who goes out there to talk to the media about what's going on. So his job is very high profile, very good looking. They have him dressed up looking debonair. I mean, he looks like, James Bond-ish, if you will, right? And then we find out that he's married, and he's married to her, but she is this kind of meek looking girl, very, does not speak. We find out she's mute. She's not deaf, but she's mute. She doesn't speak, but she can hear. So now she's learned how to do sign language. And now we see that she's actually doing that. I think she does it on TV, and sometimes she goes as an interpreter in court. But the thing is, he does not want people to know who his wife is. When he gets married, what we find out is the wedding was supposed to be public, and then all of a sudden it became private, and they've never shown a picture of his wife. So most people do not know how his wife looks like. And by the way, if you're tuning in and you've not watched, please go watch, come back, review my video, because I don't think there's any way to explain this without giving things away. So spoiler alert, okay? So anyway, we find out that obviously he's married. And then obviously we get to meet them, and then we realize this is not a marriage of love. This is an arranged marriage. And we get to find out that actually who he wanted to marry was the older sister, who ended up running away the day before their wedding, is kind of what we're getting. But he decides to say, okay, if the first sister runs away, I'll marry the second sister. And why is that? Why is that, you ask? Is because, I guess this must be something that, a lot of rich families do. And I get the feeling that this is very huge in Asian countries. If you're a powerful family, you also want to marry into a powerful family, and then you join together forces, and obviously you just continue to be more and more rich. It's very unusual for a very rich family for a person to marry somebody, a regular person, commoner, and when they do, it's such a big fuss, right? So anyway, that's the reason why he's settling for the younger sister. Now, go back 3 years back, beautiful wedding, she's got a beautiful wedding dress, and he walks in with a nice tuxedo, brings out a ring, and then proceeds to say, you should just take that off. Really, it wasn't even meant for you. And this ring I'm putting on your finger is just, for almost like for the show that we're married. Now he wears a wedding ring, so people know he's married. Now in episode 1, which was interesting, just episode 1 off the bat, episode 1 was like, wow, what? I love shows where you're like, no, it was you, not you. Those kind of shows I just love, where you don't see it coming. And we see she gets kidnapped, and this guy is trying to extort the husband for ransom. And when he calls to say, I got your wife, and I need you to pay this amount of money, he responds with, go ahead and kill her, okay? And he's like, what? The thing is, he thinks it's a hoax, but she's there, and it's actually is a real, she got kidnapped. And she's hearing this, and she's like, wow, I know we don't love each other, but my God, he doesn't even care if they kill me or not. And then he hangs up. And the guy calls back and said, really? So you really don't care if I kill your wife? He goes, I'll only believe you if you send me the body. I want to see the cops. I'm like, well, damn. Like, then why marry her? I was just like, what is going on here? Anyway, he's thinking it was a hoax, blah, blah, blah. The phone number that's coming through, it looks like it's an American phone number. He can't trace it, that kind of thing. The weird thing was, as soon as he got the call saying that we kidnapped your wife, I thought it was strange that he didn't call the wife to say, hey, are you okay? He called his mother, and then he called the mother-in-law to say, have you seen her? And they were all like, yeah, we saw her earlier this morning, which they had, because they were all trying to like get her ready because he's about to go into elections. So they're like, don't do anything crazy, stay quiet. And I'm just like, she barely speaks anyway. What is she gonna do? Anyway, he comes home and there she is. What happened was, after that whole fiasco kind of thing, she kind of lost it. She was so mad. She drives the car fast, gets into this huge bump, and this would-be kidnapper bumps his head, kind of passes out. And that's how she runs away and then ends up getting the car towed back home. When he comes home, he's looking at her like, you know what? I got the strangest call, somebody saying you were kidnapped. And she's sitting here just furious. The fact that I heard what you said. It was almost like, you know, go ahead and kill her. I want to see the body. So she's mad. Obviously, she's mute. So she's not saying anything. Then he comes to her and says, well, I've been invited to, I think it was the ambassador of England. I need you to come. And she's looking at him like, I thought you don't want me to be seen as your wife. You don't want anybody to know who your wife is. He's like, don't get it mixed up. It's not a date. It's because the wife, which I thought was kind of strange writers. So even the wife of the British ambassador is deaf. So she needs to come and translate. Okay, sure, fine. Even the ambassador's like, oh, finally, we get to see your wife. We never have her here. She's doing sign language. She's like, I'm not his wife. And then they're all like, oh, we thought this was your wife. And then he proceeds to go, oh, no, this is not my wife. She's an interpreter. I don't like to have my wife out there because my wife is my weakness. And if I have her out here, I feel like all the attacks I get, she would get, and I couldn't handle that. So here's the British ambassador thinking, oh my gosh, what a romantic, you know, what a hopeless romantic. If only he knew half of it. After that encounter, she goes to the bathroom. She wants to take off. He's getting a phone call from that same kidnapper, from that same phone number. And he's like, oh, so you lied to me that you had kidnapped my wife. Remember, at this point, he does not know it was real. And now he starts to describe it like, oh, so I see all you're doing is drinking and you're not eating anything. So then he's catching on like, wait, this guy's here? And then he's thinking, how did you get here? Because to get here, security was pretty tight. So that's strange. That's number one. And this kidnapper on the phone, obviously we know the voice is distorted, starts to tell him about what's around there, like you should have had something to eat. So now he's chasing to look, trying to see if he can find him because he's figured he's here. And then he proceeds to kind of tell him like, I can't believe how heartless you are, that the fact that you told me to go ahead and kill your wife, you didn't even care at all, you know, you didn't even see all of the bruises and all that stuff she got. Like, how dare you do that? And then he proceeds to say, you don't think I know about your secret. The fact that you were supposed to marry the eldest daughter and then you didn't. You ended up marrying the youngest daughter and it's supposed to be a family secret. And if, you know, I could out this secret and destroy your family, and him, he wants to go into elections, that kind of thing. And so now he's freaking out like, how did this secret come out? Because this is only supposed to be around family. Only people who knows, I think my mom, our dads, and the women, right? So who told secret is starting to go through his head. And by the way, we find out the reason why she does it is because they've got a sick father, and that's the reason why she agreed to get married to him, because if she doesn't, then they would expose that I think he's sick, and then obviously, you know, it's all about status. You're trying to keep your family status out there. And then I love how the camera pans to her in the bathroom and she's holding the phone. Here, we thought the girl can't speak. Oh, she's talking. And now she's the one on the phone, and she's the one who's kind of like blackmailing him, if you will, because when she got kidnapped and that kidnapper hit his head, she took his phone. So now she's the one who's calling him. And that's why it would make sense that only she would know his secrets. And that is driving him crazy. And that is the fun of the show. Now, what's crazy is he sounds like he likes her or is into her, because a couple of things. Now, her father, who is sick, said, we wanted you to go to pretend to be mute so that your elder sister would have the best shot. And that's why she pretends to be mute. So he doesn't know that she speaks. And then when the older sister called to say, I'm not going to marry you, I think the elder sister was like, I'm just not going to marry you just because our families should be together. You know, I don't want to do that, so I'm running away. So that's where he goes, well, I'll marry your youngest sister, because he finds out that she's supposed to get married to this awful, awful guy. And the mother, who is so concerned about keeping the status, that she's marrying off her daughter into some awful person, although apparently they are rich. So that's why he says, well, in that case, I'll marry Hijo. Her name is Hijo in the show, and his name is Park Se-young. So that's when he said he's gonna marry her. But what's crazy is that when the kidnapper, when he's blackmailing him, oh, you don't even know that your wife has like one of those moles on her thigh. That starts to bother him, and then obviously he went and confronts her and says, did you actually get hurt? And were you really kidnapped? And she was like, yeah. And then he starts to look at her neck and was like, oh my God, this guy is for real. So now he's believing, sure, he's being blackmailed. And then obviously we saw in episode 2, she continues with the antics, because now she's like, okay, he didn't catch on that it was me. Let's see how long this goes for. What she really wants is she wants to be released from this marriage, because she had to sign a prenup where it says she cannot divorce him if it's during election. He's about to go through election. She's not happy. They're not happy. He believes that she was kidnapped. He's got security following her. He's jealous that she's met with a guy. Turns out it was an old acquaintance, old colleague, but he's jealous. That's why I'm like, are we sure he does not love her, but he's just acting like I don't want to get attached? Like, why is that? I cannot wait to find out. I feel like there's more. And we also know how this will end. I think we've seen this kind of shows where it's that opposite attract, where they start off hating each other, but then as it progresses, they probably will find a point of connection where they probably have to come together and fight the real evil. Because I don't know if you saw the episode 2, the building was bombed, and clearly she didn't do it. So clearly there's other people who are coming for him. So we shall see. Have you seen the 2 episodes? If you haven't, please start. It is so good. I feel like this is gonna be one of those that's gonna, you know, take us for a nice roller coaster. One thing I gotta say though, Korean drama writers, like, can we stop with the cheesy, toxic masculinity stuff where it's like, you know, the man has to always save the girl. Like, here comes a motorcycle and he has to grab her and fling her, and he holds her because she doesn't get hit by the motorcycle. I'm like, how cheesy is that? Or he acts like he doesn't like her, but he's walking towards her looking like he's gonna kiss her, and she's like, what do you want? And he's only grabbing, I don't know, salt behind her. Well, why do we do those cheesy things? Oh, this is the 21st century. Do women still fall for that kind of nonsense? Like, you know, oh my God, you saved me. Really? I don't know why they still keep doing that. Korean dramas do that all the time. Like this, she was about to get hit by the motorcycle. Oh my gosh, let's save her. And then I'm gonna walk close to her, so she's like she has no control over her feelings. It's so unbelievable. I'm sorry, it's so cheesy. I feel like Korean, and I've watched a lot of Korean dramas, I feel like the Korean writers need to like move on from that cheesy stuff. It's not believable anymore. If anything, it just gives you the, does it give you the ick? I don't know, maybe it's me. And maybe I've watched too many Korean dramas where they do that, where I'm like, enough already. I don't think the 21st woman is falling for that. If that's what you want to call masculine. I think a 21st woman nowadays, we might be more impressed with somebody who's smart, how you care for your family, that kind of thing, how you take care of your family. That is masculine. I don't need the antics. Like, oh, save. Nobody's looking for the knight and shining armor anymore, I think, right? Anyway, I digress. Watch it. It's really, really good. Join me next week when I review episode 3 and 4. And as usual, if you do like my videos, give me a like, subscribe. It does help support my channel. And I'll see you next week. Deuces.